Welkom by Brul episode 14. Oom Kobus is terug by ons en vanaand se kunstenaar is Lisa van Dijk. Swop die skoene uit en kom geniet saam.
Welkom by nog 'n Brulback julle. En ja, Lisa, welkom hier by ons.
Hallo Brulback, dit is so lekker om hier so te wees vanaand.
Voor ons te ver gaan, kom ons speel 'n bietjie een van Lisa se songs.
I wanna tell you all a story about a Harper Valley widowed wife who had a teenage daughter who attended Harper Valley Junior High. Well, her daughter came home one afternoon and didn't even stop to play. She said, "Mom, I got a note from the Harper Valley PTA." Well, the note said, "Mrs. Johnson, you've been wearing your dresses way too high. And it's reported you've been drinking and running around with men and going wild. And we don't believe you ought to be bringing up your little girl this way." And it was signed by the secretary of the Harper Valley PTA. Well, it happened that a PTA was gonna meet that very afternoon. And they were sure surprised when Mrs. Johnson wore her miniskirt into the room. And as she walked up to the blackboard, I can still recall the words she had to say. She said, "I'd like to address this meeting of the Harper Valley PTA. Well, there's Bobby Taylor sitting there, and 7 times he's asked me for a date. And Mrs. Taylor sure seems to use a lot of ice whenever he's away. And Mr. Baker, can you tell us why your secretary had to leave this town? And shouldn't Widow John be told to keep her window shades all the way pulled down? Well, Mr. Harper couldn't be here 'cause he stayed too long at Kelly's bar again. And if you smell Shirley Thompson's breath, you'll find she's had a little nip of gin. And then you have the nerve to tell me as a mother you don't think that I am fit. Well, this is just a painting place, and you're all just Harper Valley hypocrites. No, I wouldn't put you on because it really did happen just this way. The day my mama stuck it to the Harper Valley PTA. The day my mama sucked it to the Harper Valley PTA.
Dit klink of die girlkie nog wel lekker kan sing, hoor.
Ja nee, sy speel nie oom, sy speel nie. Soos ek sê, sy like hierdie oudtydse oldie, so sy in haar eie woorde ook sê, sy like hierdie oudtydse oldie musiek om dit terug te bring vir die jonger generasie. So ja, dis nogal nice.
Ja, dis cool om te weet kunstenaars, veral jongerige kunstenaars, wil die ou musiek terugbring, want baie van vandag se jong mense weet nie van die ou musiek wat so goed was nie.
Ja nee, is feite oom. Moya?
Yeah.
As promised, on the last podcast at the end, I said we're going to speak about goalball this
Yes.
week. So are you willing to tell us? I have a nice video that I'm going to put up with all the rules and the more basic explanation of what the game is. But in short, in your own words.
All right. Goalball is essentially a sport for people with visual impairments where you have 3 people protecting a 9-meter goal. So you have to listen for the ball, which has bells in it, and it weighs 1.2 kilos. So rule number 1 is never block the ball with your face. All right. You have to dive and stop the ball, and then you have to roll it back to your opponent's goal all right, without leaving your own half. And you have to make sure the ball bounces in certain areas of the court, essentially just to keep it competitive. Because if you threw overhand, for example, and it only bounced close to the opponent's goal, they wouldn't be able to hear it in time to actually dive to stop it. So it has to bounce once within your team area, once in the neutral area close to the halfway line, and then from there, if it keeps going, it can go mid-air from there. That's okay, but usually it'll bounce a few times before it goes into the goal.
And one thing, Moya, do you have any events coming up in the global, or what the last tournament that you had, was that the finish for the season, or is there any upcoming events?
Yeah, so we concluded the national tournament this past week, and on 13th April, there's going to be a tournament in Worcester. It'll be at Innovation for the Blind, which is just in around about the center of Worcester, and usually our fixtures run from 9 a.m. to about 3 p.m. So in the Western Cape, we've got our inter-district league that starts on that date, and then we'll have fixtures pretty much every 3 weeks or so, running till October, and then we'll do our trials for the Western Cape team or teams. And then there's the school summer games in December, followed by the national tournament, which will have seniors and juniors in March next year.
Great stuff, great stuff. I'm going to try and get some visual pictures up on the podcast so that people can see the dates and the venues. I'm going to try and do that as well.
Okay, cool. I can send you the fixture list as well.
A level playing field digital exclusive.
Sport Explained, Goalball. Goalball is a team sport created specifically for athletes that are blind or partially sighted. The goalball court is 18 meters long and 9 meters wide, with goal lines at each end and a center line dividing the surface. Each half is divided into a 3-meter neutral area and a 6-meter team area. The two zones are separated by the high ball line, which is used to determine a legal shot on net. The team area is further divided into two 3-meter zones. The orientation area is closest to the goal and is used to defend and shoot on the opposing net. The landing area is the section between the neutral area and the orientation area and is used for determining a legal shot. All lines on the court are marked by tactile tape. The nets are 1.3 meters high and run the full 9-meter width of the court. Teams consist of 6 players, with only 3 players, 2 wingers and a centre allowed on the court at any time. The ball is thrown underhand in a bowling-like motion. Once thrown, it must bounce or roll in your landing area, and again in the opposing team's landing area, and fully cross the goal line to count as a goal. Players use their bodies to block the ball from entering their nets. Players can pass the ball to teammates, but the ball must be thrown across the center line within 10 seconds of gaining possession. The goal ball has a diameter of 25 centimeters, with 2 bells inside to give players an audio cue of the ball's location on the court. The goal ball weighs 1.25 kilograms and has 8 small holes to help the players hear the bells inside. The game is 24 minutes long, with 2 12-minute halves. The team with the most goals at the end of the game wins.
Now, without further ado, Oom Kobus, ek weet oom brand om te praat oor die leeu's. So ek gaan vir oom die kans gee om hierdie een oop te maak vanaand.
Dankie Niels, ja, hartverskeurend. Ek het die game grootendeels gemis Saterdag, want ek was op pad terug van Pretoria af. En toe kom highlights so goed kyk en stukkies hier en daar gekyk. Wat my verstand net te bowe gaan is hoe ons die Sharks so ver wen, so 'n briljante game met 14 man net laasweek en dan net heeltemal die bus misgeval het. Ek verstaan nie wat gebeur het nie. Mooi, maybe you can jump in here. I don't know if it's a lack of concentration or what is going on, but it was really it was sad to see how bad. Ja, apparently the ref made some bad decisions, but I don't think we can blame everything on the ref. The way I saw bits of the game. Niels, nee, regtig hartverskeurend. Ek het regtig gedink ons na die laaste 2 groot wenne, veral met die 14 man op die veld laasweek, dat ons die ding in die sakkie het, maar ja, obviously is alles nog nie 100% reg by die Leeu's nie. En dan sommer net die naweek se game teen Benetton, nou is daar weer wholesale changes gemaak. En julle weet hoe voel ek oor dit. Nou is dit nou weer 'n nuwe ding en Benetton is, ek weet nie, hulle is op 'n opwaartse kurwe, so ek weet nie wat lê en wag vir ons manne die week nie.
Yeah, thinking about it, I agree. We can't put everything on the ref. The sense I got was it was two things. We seemed a bit flat, which makes sense considering, we started with largely the same team who started last week. And after you put in a massive shift like they did, it was going to take a toll at some point. The commentators last week thought it would happen in that game. But it didn't. But I think it kind of caught up to us this week or this past weekend. But also, there was a bit of impatience. It seemed like we were trying too much too soon. Really, there's times where I know it's not always the most attractive option, but there's a time and place for bashing it up so you can create space and go for it. But it seemed like we were going for the miracle ball a bit too often for our own good.
Yeah, Moya, I'm going to try and do this in English as well.
Sure.
But it will be better for me in Afrikaans. Since I use English only for self-defense. Oom Kobus, nee, kyk, ek het die game gekyk, nee. En dit was een van daai dae wat dinge het net nie, ek het dit op die groep ook gesê, dinge het net nie gewerk nie. Ons het soveel handling errors gehad. Hulle het ons balle gesteel, left, right en center. Dit was so maklik gelyk, nee, dit was nie eens moeite vir hulle om ons balle te steel nie. Nou, jy kan nie so 'n game wen nie. Maar nou het ek myself ingedink na die tyd, ek dink ek by myself, weet jy, maar ons het nou daai video wat Roan op die groep gesit het, wat hulle so hard getrein het daar so in die haal. Het ons nie dalk uitgegaan vir 'n game wat ons gedink het in die reën in haal gaan wees, om daai gameplan te hê, en toe skielik toe is dit nou nie dit nie, en dit het ons dalk gered toe. Dis hoekom alles ons toe probeer rush het, ons het probeer ons gameplan op die veld change.
Ja, Niels, dit maak sin wat jy sê. Maar dink jy nie ook ons is professioneel genoeg in die era om te besef, as ons practice vir 'n reën game, dat ons moet weet, daar is 'n plan B as dinge verkeerd loop of nie, daar's nie reën of haal of iets nie. My ander vraag is, en hier moet julle help, want ek moet erken, in die laaste keer met trekker en die werk en goed, het ek bietjie van die rugby gemis. Hoekom bly hulle ons loskakel, ons kampskakel kombinasie verander? Ons nommer 10 het sommer krappies regtig goed gedoen, en nou bring hulle weer vir Hendrikse terug. My gevoel is, en ek weer eens, as ek verkeerd is, sê ek sorry, Hendrikse vaai, hy gaan Natal toe, hy wil nie meer die wees nie. Moet ons hom aanhou speel, of is dit nou tyd om iemand anders in te bring, en as 'n backup vir ons nommer 10, wat die hele tyd vir ons gehelp het, of hoe voel jy
Ek dink dit is maar 'n kwessie van, ons wil nie net heeltyd Noamba op 10 speel nie. Hy is meer prone vir injury daarso. Ek dink ons is bang om hom te laat seer kry, so nou gee jy nou maar vir Hendrik se kans. Kyk, Hendrik is nie 'n slegte speler nie, glad nie. Glad nie. Hy is baie meer op sy verdediging hierdie seisoen ook as iets anderste. Maar die probleem deesdae met Jordan, as hy 'n breekslag kry, gewoonlik, nie elke keer nie, maar gewoonlik, verloor hy daai bal in kontak. En ja, nou is jou balbesit weg. So, ek weet nie, ek dink, dis wat ons doen, ons probeer roteer, om Noamba te beskerm, want ons weet, ons kom nou terug vir tuisgames, ons gaan nou Benetton speel, en dan die rest van die URC is tuisgames. As jy nou Noamba moet die injury kry, dan het ons probleme op 9 en ons het probleme op 10 ook.
I wonder if...
Stem saam.
Yeah, go Cobus.
I agree with Niels to a certain point, but I also think that with Krappies at 9, we've got a very good replacement as far as I'm concerned in young Nico Steyn. I think he's really grown in leaps and bounds the last couple of games he had chance. But where's that wallet that we bought? Is he not good enough still? Is he still injured? Maybe he should be given a chance, as we know that Hendricks is leaving. I'm not bad-mouthing Hendricks. I've always said he's not a bad player, but maybe it's time for change.
Yeah. You know, I was thinking about it, and I wonder if a part of it is essentially, you know, the national setup has said, hey, listen, you know how we called these guys up to the alignment camp? Yeah, you need to keep picking them because we've got plans for them, and so we need them to get game time. So I do wonder if it's an agreement there, because we've known from past experience with the Lions, if we know someone's leaving, their game time does diminish, you know, because, and it makes sense, you know, again, I love Jordan as a player, but we need to be prepped for his impending exit because he's definitely exiting. It's, you know, if it was still in doubt, I could understand playing him, but he's definitely going. So he's someone we can use sparingly. You know, I'm hoping Kate Voliter is healthy. You know, I'm getting the sense that the plan for him is he'll be the starting 10 for the Curry Cup, which is great. But, you know, the question is, will that assist us with having enough depth at 10 going into the next URC season? Counter argument would be if we're signing, is it Dobella from the Griquas? If we're signing him, then, you know, the hope is, you know, we'll have Nohamba, who can play 10. We'll have Gianni Lombard, who hopefully will find form by then. We'll have Voliter, and we'll have Dobella, and, you know, that'll be the group. We do also have the likes of Xander Duplessis, who can play 10 if need be. So my hope is now for the Challenge Cup, if we're going to start with Xander Duplessis at 12, maybe we can shift him to 10 in the second half.
Ja, dis nie 'n slegte idee nie, maar ek dink persoonlik gaan ons seker maar vir Lombard Currybeeker toeskuif saam met Kate miskien in die begin, maar Kate is meer, hy die kans nodig op URC as wat Lombard kry net nie sy vorm nie, hy sukkel, ons weet wat hy kan doen, maar hy kom net nie by daai vorm van hom uit nie.
Ja, Niels, ek moet vir jou sê dat jy praat baie waar daar, want ek is redelik, jy weet, ek is baie in 'n gesprek met Lombard se ma, met Hilda, en sy sê hy sukkel met selfvertroue. Hy vat ook blykbaar so elke op 'n call kritiek wat hy kry op Facebook en goed baie persoonlik aan. Hy hanteer dit nie baie goed nie. So miskien is dit 'n goeie move om af te skryf Curry Cup toe, dat hy daar weer terugkom op vorm en om dan weer 'n kans te gee in die URC. Want as ons Benetton wen en ons bly in die uitspelrond is, en ons maak die top 8 in die URC, kan ons nie bekostig om met iemand te speel op 10 wat nie lekker vorm het nie.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. You know, the plan is next season we're in Champions Cup, which means, you know, especially at 10, we're going to need everyone to be on form. And, you know, even where if you have a bad day, your bad day is, you know, the poor man's awesome. You know, that's what we're going to need from, especially our playmakers, right? Because you can't come up against Saracens or La Rochelle or that and have a very bad day, because it'll get very, very bad very, very quickly.
It will cost you.
Yeah. It'll be a very expensive outing, you know.
Thing is, We need more consistency as well from the players. I understand your point, Moya, because of a great game they had last week and maybe they faded a bit this week. But then again, the way I look at it is it's their job. Surely if you have one or two good days and one or two bad days, your boss is not going to be too
Correct.
happy with you. And now we've got to rely on other teams to lose, especially in the URC, and we've got to try and win every single game to make the top 8. Where we have lost the one or two games we shouldn't have lost. And that's a whole thing from my side, not just in the group, but in life is you must do things in such a way that you don't have to rely on other people to help you. How do you guys feel
Yeah,
about that?
I'm with you 100%. I mean, I had the troubling realization, I think yesterday, where I was like, now we're getting into Bafana territory, where it's like, okay, it's not enough that we win. We need this team to lose, and for it to rain on Tuesday, and then for this to happen on Friday, and when all those permutations come through, it's not a great place to be in. You'd rather go saying, hey, you know what? We know we have that certainty of we're going through. It's a question of what number. That would feel a lot more comfortable. And yes, the log is still congested. So if we keep winning, we're back in the top 8. But it's a lot more. It's a lot more scary. And I'm not going to lie. I try to keep as stress free as I can. So this is not great in terms of not stressing.
Moya, don't you think that we're still in I won't say a safe place, but we're still there. Um, the good thing is we're getting our home games now, so we have to make
Yes.
that count. I think we have four, 5 home games still left.
Yeah.
So if we can make 3 out of those 5, then we can make a stamp on the top 8. But what about the other teams there? The European
Mm,
teams must come now to South Africa.
yeah.
So that opens up a gate for us. But on the Sharks, 2 weeks in a row, they do us a favor. 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
If they didn't win Edinburgh, it could have been much worse for us.
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm really happy they've decided to play rugby again. And I'll say as well, for us, the consistency is something we need to build. And it's strange, right? Because even with the changes that are rumored to happen now for the Challenge Cup team, I kind of get it because the priority is URC. But my thing is then, hey, when we play our remaining URC games, we need to be firing on all cylinders. We need to be absolutely sure that, like Leinster will probably send a second string side, but a second string Leinster side, there's not much difference between them and like their top starting side.
Yeah.
We've got Munster. Munster are always dangerous, no matter who they send as well.
Yeah.
And I think the other one's Cardiff. Cardiff and someone else, if I remember correctly. So, these are teams that we can beat, but we're going to have to dig deep. And that's where the consistency is going to have to come in, where we will need to dig deep week after week after week after week. Yeah, so I think including the travel element as well, it makes sense to rotate the squad a bit now. Because we're going to need those guys to put in a full month or 5 weeks where they're completely switched on and they push the whole time. It'll be good as well where we'll have the likes of Henko van Veek and Rowan Venter back, hopefully somewhere in that time frame as well.
Moya, you Moya, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Yes,
Okay. Did you watch your whole game? You watched the whole 80
I
minutes?
did. Yeah,
Okay. One thing I want to ask you, did you watch the Bulls game
I did.
on Friday? Okay. Now, one was a yellow and one was a red. Can you explain that one for me? Can you
I,
please? explain that one for me. As a
I,
nut, how low can that big guy go? He was on his knees.
right,
Okay.
right.
That guy is so high in Oris's face. No, it's just a yellow.
No, and the commentators try to play it down like, no, Arnsa should have done. I'm like, no, you can't say, oh, especially where the player being tackled is running upright. Like, no, that's fine. You're supposed to do that. You know, but why is the tackler tackling upright? And then I say, oh no. The force was mainly through the body. Yes, there was head contact. I'm like, guys, there's barely any mitigation there, especially because guy went clattering in. It didn't make sense to me. It really didn't.
And poor Asanati got 3 weeks ban.
Right?
3 weeks while on his knees.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that this guy from Leinster is not, that they won't probably even be a hearing to be like, oh no, actually this met the red card threshold and should have been a red, and he's picking up. It'll just be like, yeah, it was a yellow, it was fine.
Yeah,
But we get back to that point again because um, just when I thought that red card was worst decision ever, that yellow card was even worse for me because that should have been a straight red, not
Exactly.
even discussed about it. But it's again the
Yep.
consistency of the refs, and there's no, they don't get punished for a bad game or they get reprimanded or money taken away. They do whatever they want to. I've looked at some of the
Mhm.
decisions on Saturday, but I've watched, and some of those decisions was really, really. It's like you're a world champ boxer and you go fight in someone else's backyard. Um, you got to knock him out to win the fight because you're
Yeah.
always going to lose on points. The World Rugby should really look at um, there must be rules for refs and they must be checked, or I don't know how to put it. There must be consequences when they blow game after game and they make bad decisions like
ja,
that.
shame. JP was so, jy kon sien in die game, JP was omgekrap. Want hulle bly blaas vir scrum penalties en ons vermors hulle in die scrum, maar hulle kry die penalty. Hulle pop op heeltemal in die scrum met of hulle sak af dat hulle inscrum. Either way, maar ons word gestraf. Ons druk hulle
Yeah.
terug, dan sit hulle penalty.
The scrumming in really annoyed me because it didn't matter what angle you watched it at. Their loose head was scrumming in, and they said, "Oh no, penalty against Lions 3." I'm like, how? How is it a penalty against our
Yeah.
tight head when their loose head is very clearly scrumming in at an angle, and that's what's caused what's happened at the front of the scrum?
Yeah, the guy was even popping out, but
Yeah,
still nothing.
no, and that's the thing. And what frustrates me is I think of an example like Craig Joubert. Craig Joubert made a mistake in a World Cup game and pretty much was never heard from again. And World Rugby was very, very quick to say, oh, yeah, look, he made a mistake. Other referees make mistakes and it's sort of like, hey, we need to respect the referees. And don't get me wrong, yes, we should respect the referees, but it should be that way. Hey, if you're getting things wrong, at least say, well, look, we're going to have to remove you from rotation, even if it's for a month, or a game or two, even, and it's like, fine, you will make your way back in, but we need to trust that there'll be consistency, and teams shouldn't teams shouldn't have to think like, oh, it's this ref. Okay. Especially where it's like, oh, it's this ref and we're away. Okay, you know what, guys? We can't go for any, like, let's not try any more tries because there's a very strong chance we'll get told, no, illegal binding in the mall or this or that, or we can't really go for this because we'll get told this or that. Like, no, it should be consistent where it was. And I felt bad as well because when Supersport were showing, like, oh, the referees are from, our referee was born in Wales. Like, much as he's registered with the Irish Union, he was born in Wales. And I was like, is this okay? It's probably okay, but it just felt a bit weird, especially, when as the game progressed, I was like, yeah, guys, this is feeling more and more weird.
Yep. And the offsides, yeah. Some of the
Mm,
guys were taking America around, but they were
right.
left unseen, left unseen.
Ugh, yeah. It got a bit frustrating, but look, I think with the Challenge Cup we might get an English ref or something because for Challenge Cup they rotate even more. It won't just be from within the UK and Italy. It'll be it could be a French ref, could be a Spanish ref even. So could be interesting times, but yeah, I don't know. If I can ask the question, what would our top three wish list items be? In terms of getting the win this coming week.
Moya,
Yeah.
our wish list definitely to win the Lions game. Definitely to
Hmm.
win that. Definitely to win that. But more than that, I would like to see some of the youngsters in a new team or in a Challenge Cup team performing that we can draft them for the URC. So we have something to throw upon Leinster or Munster um, that they're not going to expect because they haven't seen those players play yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
That I would like. I would like to get our scrums back because that was our main disadvantage. We thrive on our scrums. I said it on a group this weekend. We thrive on our scrums. We know we're dominant in the scrums. So once we get blown for the scrums, you take that big set piece that 90% of our game is based off. You take that away. Now you're gonna rattle us.
Yeah. Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
Fully agree Niels. Ek dink ook net ja kyk ons moet Benetton wen, dis nie 'n ding nie. Ons moet wen en deur gaan in die volgende ronde. Maar ek stem saam met jou, ons moet die jonger manne deur van die URC toe dat die ander spanne nie weet ons speel teen die ou of daai en ons ken sy swakpunte nie. But don't you guys think it's a good idea like this weekend when the Wales ref blew the game? That when we play there in Ireland or wherever that they get a ref from another area or another
Mm.
country. Because it's like you say, it's like when the personal thing with Jacob Paper, when he blew against the Lions, I'd say, yeah, we already 15 points behind in the board because I never liked him. And that's what's happened overseas now. You say, it's this ref, okay, we're already 20 points
Mm.
back on the board. And I'm sure also mentally it works on our
Yeah.
players.
No, I think it does, and I was thinking about that in part of how we played. Is that part of why we were rushing things? Was that whole thing of like, well, hang on, if players from the opposition are allowed to be offside, we either have to fall back deeper or we need to move faster so we can just counter that they're already closer to us. But yeah, I would say then one of my wish list items would be a neutral ref, not just by location but by action.
Yeah, not one from the northern hemisphere. Because if you're born in Scotland and you're blowing a game for a Welsh team, you're still going to help them against a South African team. So northern, southern hemisphere. But what do you have left? The Japanese or American ref?
Well, here's where we need Switzerland to produce refs and be like, oh, we are completely neutral, like we are in most things. We're the refereeing capital of rugby. Like we will send our referees everywhere, and they will just ref.
Yeah, or even Colombia or Brazil. Imagine that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here's the thing. They do have rugby there.
Yeah.
So that actually would be quite nice where, if those sorts of countries could produce referees that could be used in those competitions. And maybe that's something that will develop as time goes on, where they'll say, I suppose the problem would be just travel costs. But otherwise, it would be great to say, fine, match officials will be from nations not, that don't have as direct ties to the nations playing. Because as you say, look, sometimes, the Scots and the Welsh don't get along, and the Irish and the Welsh don't get along. But at the same time, it's like, well, they are still part of the United Kingdom, so there is still a chance they will get along.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. Plus, I'll use the example of the commentary sometimes. Listening to the commentary, even where the commentators are from another UK nation, they're very pro the UK team and very sort of like, look at this African team that's coming here trying to win. Yeah, look, I know they're trying, and it's like, all these subtle put downs and all these things that really make it seem like, no, there's UK rugby and there's everything else.
Yeah. Speaking about everything else, Kobus, die Crusaders het daarom gewen teen die Chiefs nogal. Wat dink jy daarvan?
Kyk, julle weet, All Black fan wat ek is 'n Crusaders fan. Daai was nogal 'n skok geweest. Die Crusaders het regtig 'n baie seisoen. Maar ek moet ook vir jou sê nee dat hulle het self uit hulle kassies uitgespeel. Hulle het asof daai ouens net besef het hulle kan nie nog 'n game verloor nie. Ek het dit het ook Saterdagmiddag gaan kyk na elke hardloop het. Hulle het regtig daai ene verdien. En soos jy sê teen die Chiefs, daai was 'n goeie wen. Omdat hulle seisoen so kort is met die nuwe reeks aan daai kant, glo ek nie die Crusaders gaan die top 4 of iets haal nie, maar ten minste is daar nou 'n liggie in die tonnel vir daai manne.
Ja, nee, ons het gepraat op die podcast daaroor. Ek worry wat gaan aan met die Crusaders. Ek het nie eens die game gekyk nie. Ek op Flashcore sien dis net hulle die Chiefs gewen en ek het nogal gesê ek dink die Chiefs is die span wat die Super Rugby hierdie jaar kan wen, wat ek dink dis tussen hulle en die Hurricanes, maar ek sou nog steeds gaan met die Chiefs, dink ek is die span wat hierdie jaar daai beker gaan lig. En hier kom Crusaders met iets soos wat 6 verlore of so iets en hulle kom stamp die Chiefs. Ek dink ja, dit wil gedoen word.
Ja, nee, dit was 'n baie goeie game geweest. Ja, ek dink ook die Chiefs gaan dit lig die jaar. Dis dalk ook jy weet daai ding van jy wen 'n klomp en dan verloor jy een skielik, dis of jy val dan die bus heeltemal mis of jy besef jy moet nou 'n bietjie harder speel. So dalk is hierdie ander wake-up call vir die Chiefs nodig gehad het. So kom ons kyk. Maar ek moet sê ek is bly vir die Crusaders.
And do you feel they've turned the corner now?
For me, I think so. I do think so. In the previous game before the Chiefs, the one they lost, I can't remember who they lost, but it was that fault from Owen Franks. He basically cost them their game.
Oh, right. Yes, because he got a red, didn't he?
Yeah. Even at that game, you could see there was kind of a turnaround. The guys were looking better. They wanted to play. Like I said, I didn't watch the Chiefs game, but if I see the results, I think they turned up. The Crusaders, we all know them. 2-3 games in the season, the first start, they lose, and then they come back and they win the Super Rugby for a record again.
Yeah.
So you can't put anything past them. But this time it was shocking to see how many games piled up before the win came. But now, once the win is there, I think maybe, it could be a turnaround.
Okay. No, that's the way. I mean, look, as the saying goes, sometimes it's not how you start, it's how you finish. But the hope for them is that the slow start, won't cost them a playoff place. That said, even if it does, it is first season with new coaches. It's wonderful if you can keep consistency after a massive change like that. But, I think we can be a bit forgiving if this season isn't the greatest for them.
Yeah, look, they've lost a great coach. I must admit, I'm very interested to see how he's going to do with the All Blacks, what he's going to bring to the table for the All Blacks. Because when he was in charge of the Crusaders, they just about wiped out the rest of the
agreed.
competition. I also think it's a bit of a turnaround for them now, especially when after the weekend when they won the Chiefs. Now they can say we can beat them. We beat the team like the Chiefs. We can beat basically everyone else. So let's see how it goes the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Ja, daai wat oom nou so raak aan van die All Blacks coach. Die vier na's op die championship gaan interessant wees hierdie jaar. Van baie van die Aussie spanne lyk ook bietjie beter nou in die Super Rugby as laas jaar. Hulle het bietjie wakker geskrik. Hulle begin beter. Ja, Argentinië dink ek gaan nog revenge kry van World Cup teen ons. En die All Blacks gaan ook nie baie happy wees met ons nie. So dit gaan vier harde spanne teen mekaar wees.
Nee, definitief. Kyk. As 'n All Black, ja, dit was 'n bietjie payback tyd. Ja, julle is die world champs en weer eens congrats. Maar jy is 100% reg. Die Australiese spanne speel baie beter rugby van Eddie Jones weg is. Ek sê nie skielik gaan hulle groot kompetisie wees nie, maar ek dink dit gaan 'n beter van hulle kant af kom. En ek dink hier en daar, soos jy sê, ek uit 'n All Black oogpunt, ons skuld die bokke. Ek dink die Argentynë voel dieselfde. En ek dink die Australiërs wil ook 'n punt of twee bewys. En natuurlik, weet die bokke het hulle trots. Hulle is die world champs. Hulle wil nie verloor en dan sê almal ja, julle is die world champs, julle verloor nie. So ja, ek dink jy is 100% reg. Hierdie jaar gaan die vier nasies 'n moerse goeie kompetisie wees, Niels.
Also, we have the under 20 rugby championship to look forward to, which will be, I mean, it'll be shorter, but I think that'll be quite nice for the youngsters as well, where, you know, it will be the same Argentina, Australia, New Zealand and South Africa playing against each other. So that it could actually be, you know, quite the game changer if it works, because I think it'll be, you know, we need these youngsters to have that high level of competition against each other, so that when they play in the World Championship, you know, it's not a thing of, oh, okay, you know, we've only played like 2 tests against this team or that team. Like, you know, there's that constant competition going as well.
Yeah, I agree, because you can't win competitions or do good if you don't get play game time. And especially with the youngsters, like you say, let them play more. Let them get used to the like half senior rugby, and it will only be good for all our senior teams. No matter who we support, it will only be good for rugby in general.
Absolutely. Strange thing is, though, those games are happening on like Tuesdays and Wednesdays, and that. I'm like, it's a pity they couldn't schedule it for weekends, even if it was like, oh, these are going to be curtain raisers for games happening, you know, in New Zealand and Australia. You know, even if it's Super Rugby games, to say, listen, we're doing Super Rugby, but we will also do this or that. Because most of the stadiums now use, like, they don't, you know, paint the logos and that of sponsors for the competitions on. They rather almost like, you know, project it so when it's being filmed, those things appear. So it is possible to actually have 2 different competitions played at the same venue and, you know, have everyone's sponsors be happy.
Yeah, that will actually be great. And also, other thing, Moya, don't you think it will give the youngsters more exposure? Because, I mean, when we normally go to Ellis Park, we go, if it's a pre-game or under 20 game, we all go and watch. We don't just go watch the senior game. So also, it will be bigger crowds for the youngsters to play on a field like that with a lot of people watching them. And that will be also great exposure.
Because if you're giving them midweek games, that now means people are going to have to say, okay, I'm done with work or, you know, like family responsibilities, let's go. You know, which some people will do, but a lot will not. Whereas if you have it over the weekend, you know, and it's linked to another game as well, it makes it more of a festival sort of thing where, you know, oh, actually, for the price of my ticket, I'm getting a day's worth of rugby, not just one match, I'm definitely in.
Yeah, I fully agree that it can only be good for rugby
Yeah,
and for the youngsters.
absolutely.
Ja nee, ek dink ons Moya, ek dink ek en jy en Jean het ook nou die dag daaroor gepraat wat ons gesê het klap rugby en daai goed ook. Dat die klap games daar op Ellis Park gespeel word, dat jy ons bietjie gaan kyk daarso.
Yeah,
Right.
that'll be it. I mean, sorry, because with all the rugby festivals now over Easter, I saw that there was a club one in Saldanha. And it would be so great if we could tap into things like that for Ellis Park as part of ways of getting more people to attend games there.
And now 5 questions for our guest artist.
Okay, wie is Lisa van Dijk? Wel, Lisa van Dijk is 'n introvert. Maar ek het traits van 'n ekstrovert. Ek is baie lief vir my familie. Hulle is my als. Ek is gebore in 1997. Ek is 'n winterbabietjie. Ek is die jongste van 4 kinders. So ja, ek is baie lief vir my ma en pa. Geseën om hulle nog by my te hê. Ek bly by die see. Ek is baie lief vir die see, vir KwaZulu-Natal. Ek is baie lief vir diere. Van my stokperdjies is kos maak. Ek is baie lief vir kos maak. Ek maak my eie samosas en my eie samosa deegie. Ek hou van kook. Ek hou van bak. Ja. Hoe lank is ek al in musiek? Wel, ek sing al vandat ek bitterbaie klein is. Toe ek nou 13, 14 was, toe het ek nou regtig waar in die musiek ingekom. Maar my hele familie is groot op musiek, so ek het groot geword met verskillende genres musiek. So vir my is musiek 'n groot deel van my lewe. En ek is baie lief vir die oldies. Ek hou van die oldies en ek like om nuwe lewe in dit in te bring en dit van voor af weer famous te maak. So verstaan, ek probeer dit vir die jonger geslag deurbring, die ou songs. Want ek wil memories terugbring in mense. Nou wie kyk ek op in die musiekbedryf? Ek sal sê van my gunsteling artists in die musiekbedryf is Johnny Cash en Elvis Presley. Baie lief vir hulle. Dolly Parton, Loretta Lynn, die helde, ek bedoel, Don Williams, daar is so baie, daar's te veel om eintlik name te noem. En dan, ek het 'n groot liefde vir verskillende genres musiek. So ek kan nie net sê ek hou van dit nie, want ek hou van Creedence, en ek hou van Tina Turner, en ek hou van The Sweet. So ek het 'n groot verskeidenheid van musiek wat ek baie passievol is oor. Skryf ek my eie musiek? Ek het my eie musiek op 'n kol geskryf toe ek begin het, maar ek sien myself nie as 'n skrywer nie. Ek kan baie goed rym en ek kan soos dingetjies opmaak en soos 'n song opmaak in my kop, maar vir my is skryf nie waar my passie lê nie. Iemand wat ek vind wat baie mooi liedjies skryf as jy na die woorde na die woorde luister is Robbie Wessels van sy songs is baie diep. Ja, daar's baie en dan soos ek sal sê soos helde soos Johnny Cash. June Carter het vir hom geskryf en ja, dit was net fantasties. So, ek het TikTok in 2019 begin. Ek is al 'n geruime tydjie op TikTok. Was bietjie skaam in die begin, maar toe het ek nou hierdie jaar, 'n hele rukkie na die tyd, my passie gekry en weer begin sing. Ek doen dit nou seker al vir so 5 maande. So ek gaan elke Vrydag, Saterdag en Sondag gaan ek live op TikTok van 6 tot 7:30 en Vrydag aande doen ons rock en Saterdag doen ons country en Sondag dan doen ons gospel en oldies. So ja, ek geniet dit vreeslik baie en ek sal dit baie geniet as julle my kan kom ondersteun. En ek hoop julle geniet die show. En baie dankie dat julle my hier gehad het. Ek waardeer dit opreg. Hello guys, Lisa here. Deep down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, way back up in the woods among the evergreens, I stood an old cabin made of earth and wood, and lived a country boy named Johnny B. Good, who never ever learned to read or write so well, but he could play a guitar just like a ringing a bell. Go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, go, Johnny be good. He used to carry his guitar and a gun and sack and sit beneath the trees by the railway track. Poor engineers would see that boy sitting in the shade, strumming the rhythm that the drivers made, and people passing by would stop and say, "Whoa, my, well, that a little country boy could play." Go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, 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 Johnny, go, go, Johnny be good.
Guys, any predictions for Benetton for the Challenge Cup?
Lions by 5.
I have put the Lions on my Super Brul with a 10-point win. Last week I slipped up because they lost. The week before, I actually also put them on with a 15-point win, and they won further than that, which made me glad. I only got a 1 point and a bonus point, but I'm gonna be conservative and put them on for the 10-point win.
Yeah, I'll be conservative as well. I'm going Lions by 5. You know, it's always a fight with Benetton. You know, it's like yeah, when two lions meet in a way, right? So it's gonna be a tight one, but I'm thinking Lions by 5.
Ek het laas week gesê met 11. Toe het almal hierdie laas kos wat ek sê nee, ons gaan Ospreys wen met 11. En kyk wat gebeur toe nou. So nou gaan ek ook maar weer laag. Ek sal maar sê met 8 punte. Ons gaan Benetton wen met 8 punte. Ek hoop al kom 'n 0 agterna, maar ek sê maar met 8 punte.
Yeah, I think it will be good. And look, I think one thing that makes me happy in terms of the rotating players and that is I think you touched on it earlier, Niels, where, you know, if these guys put on a good showing, these are guys that Benetton won't be as familiar with. And that, I think, will be in our favor, you know, because now suddenly you're running up against guys who you aren't that used to running against, and, you know, they'll pull something that will be different to what you experienced last time. So, you know, even starting Eric Grenier, for example. Eric Grenier is someone that maybe they played against when he played for Zebra, but, you know, they haven't experienced Eric Grenier playing for us.
Yeah, exactly. I think we can throw some cannons at them, unexpected cannons. I think we can do it. The one thing I would just say on the game plan, I hope we have figured out the game plan and we know what we're going to do, and not prepare for one game plan and then on the day, in the game, try and change it.
Yeah, agreed. You got to stick to the plan. I'll say this: the only times you should adapt it is where you are absolutely sure you have executed it and it's just not working. Or for example, if your plan is hinged on certain personnel and those personnel are then unavailable, like either they get injured during the game or something, and you need to switch it up, sure. But it shouldn't be that way. You almost haphazardly decide, okay, actually, we're going to do this or that now.
Yeah, I have to agree with both of you, Moya and Niels. Um, Follow the game plan and only change it when really something goes wrong. Or if you've done your game plan by 100% and it still not work, then change. But we have to start the game with a decent game plan and try and follow it as far as we can.
That's it. And that was something that surprised me with the Bulls this past weekend, because they seemed to stick to the kick chase even where it wasn't working. In that second half, it ended up coming back to bite them. First half wasn't that bad with it, but I just kept wondering, like, why are you guys kicking the ball away when I know Leinster's defense is solid, but this isn't working, and it's not working. So why persist with it? That was one of the questions I was asking. Friends of mine who are Bulls fans were also asking. They, to this day, are asking the same question.
And we can say that honestly, that the Bulls didn't play today full capacity.
No.
I had it.
Which
I
is a
wanted.
worrying sign, considering they played the best possible team they could have. Like, they fielded the best possible team they could have. That becomes a worry. Although, look, it's best possible on paper. Maybe their best combinations are a blend of the guys who weren't on the field, and then some of the guys who were.
Yeah, I haven't heard Jake's wife's excuses yet.
We're still waiting for that.
We can be guaranteed they will come through.
They will come through. They will, indeed, they will. Yeah. Guys, do you still feel that we can when I spoke to you, I don't think Kobus knows. Kobus, weet hom van die wat ons gepraat het, van ons gaan miskien die rugby reels ook so by die podcast bysit.
Nee, ek weet nie daarvan nie, maar dit kan werk, dit kan baie interessant wees,
Niels. Ja,
Niels.
ek gedink om me and Moya, we spoke, and I said that we must introduce like the rugby laws. Each episode we do one law and we just focus on that law. Maybe get an animation video or something explaining that law. I know we are going to have to do a couple of thousand episodes to cover all the laws because there's too many. But at least we start at number 1.
Ja, that could be very interesting, Niels. Ek stem saam met jou en ek sal like om te sien hoe gaan ons dit bietjie verder kan vat.
Ek dink ons gaan hom volgende week 'n go gee. Moya, do you think we should try it next week?
Yeah. I say let's go for it.
Okay, I will put...
Ja, definitief.
Ons gaan hom kap. Kobus, volgende week dink ek dan doen ons ook bietjie ietsie. Ek gaan 'n video opsit van bietjie blinde rugby. Hey Moya, blind rugby. Some stats and some interesting facts about blind rugby. Because this week is now goalball, so next week we do wheelchair rugby, and then maybe the week after that we do something else. Any other disabled sport you guys know about? Because mainly we all know about athletics, disabled athletics, but like wheelchair basketball or wheelchair volleyball, we don't know a lot of...
Wheelchair tennis.
Wheelchair tennis, and South Africa's actually got some really good wheelchair tennis players, so yeah, that's one we can definitely throw in as well.
I actually like the idea what you guys are doing with that, because I for a long time I said that yes, we all watch the rugby and URC and cage fighting and stuff like that, but people like that, the blind people that plays cricket and other sports, there's not enough exposure for them. So what you guys are doing with this, I personally think it's
fantastic. Thank you.
Oom is dan deel van dit ook. Dis sien net ons nie, dis oom ook. Dis ons almal.
Ja, ek bedoel, maar verstaan jy, het is lekker om, en soos ek sê, ek het al baie gesê, dat ons, weet jy, as dit mooi nou sê, ons het eintlik baie goeie wheelchair tennisspelers in ons land. Daar's soveel ander sporte, daar's mense wat blinde mense wat cricket speel, ook basies soos die goalball, wat hulle met 'n balletjie wil met 'n klokkie in, en daar's geen exposure vir die mense nie. So dis great, en as ek enigiets kan help met navorsing of iets, moet julle skree, ek sal my deel probeer bydra.
Okay.
Ja.
Okay, julle. Lekker aand vir julle, was nog 'n lekker brulback gewees. Ek hoop volgende week is ons bietjie meer voltallig, dan gaan ons die syfers stamp, dan gaan ons 'n full house wees.
Baie dankie julle, mooi, en Niels, nice week further ahead for you guys. And I'm so glad to be back on this podcast.
Welcome back. It's really good to have you back.
Ja, nee, verseker, julle moet julle aand geniet, julle moet julle week geniet. En dan sien ons mekaar volgende week weer.
En ons sal seker maar 'n bietjie op die Brulpack op die WhatsApp groep praat as jy rugby anders die naweek of
Natuurlijk, oom, hy is altyd oop, oom kan nou ook gaan praat, oom kan elke dag praat.
Ek weet. Nee, is reg. Dan geniet julle aand verder en dan praat ons die naweek weer rugby julle.
Bye bye.
Cool. Good night, everyone.
Bye.